The Second Anglo-Burmese War, or the Second Burma War, was the second of the three wars fought between the Burmese and British forces during the 19th century, with the outcome of the gradual extinction of Burmese sovereignty and independence. Background: in 1852, Commodore George Lambert was dispatched to Burma by Lord Dalhousie over a number of minor issues related to the Treaty of Yandabo between the countries. The Burmese immediately made concessions, including the removal of a governor whom the company made their casus belli. Lambert, described by Dalhousie in a private letter as the combustible Commodore, eventually provoked a naval confrontation in extremely questionable circumstances by blockading the port of Rangoon and seizing the King Pagan's royal ship, and thus started the Second Anglo-Burmese War, which ended in the company annexing the province of Pegu and renaming it Lower Burma. The nature of the dispute was misrepresented to Parliament, and Parliament played a role in further suppressing the facts released to the public. But most of the facts were established by comparative reading of these conflicting accounts in what was originally an anonymous pamphlet, How Wars Are Got Up in India. This account by Richard Cobden remains almost the sole contemporaneous evidence as to who actually made the decision to invade and annex Burma. Richard Cobden made a scathing attack on Dalhousie for dispatching a naval commodore to negotiate and for raising the initial demand for compensation of £1,000 to 100 times that amount, £100,000. He also criticised Dalhousie for choosing Lambert over Colonel Archibald Bogle, the British Commissioner of Tenasserim, who was much more experienced in Burmese social and diplomatic affairs. Dalhousie denied that Lambert was the cause. War. The first substantial blow of the Second Anglo-Burmese War was struck by the company on 5 April 1852, when the port of Martaban was taken. Rangoon was occupied on the 12th and the Shwedagon Pagoda on the 14th, after heavy fighting, when the Burmese army retired northwards. Bataine was seized on 19 May, and Pegu was taken on 3 June, after some sharp fighting round the Shwe Mordor Pagoda. During the rainy season, the approval of the East India Company's Court of Directors and of the British government was obtained as to the annexation of the lower portion of the Irrawaddy River Valley, including Proma. After the fighting, the British troops looted the pagodas for their gold, silver and precious Buddha statues. Lord Dalhousie visited Rangoon in July and August, and discussed the whole situation with the civil, military and naval authorities. He decided that to dictate terms to the court of Ava by marching to the capital was not how the war should be conducted unless complete annexation of the kingdom was contemplated, and this was deemed unachievable in both military and economic terms for the time being. As a consequence, Major General Godwin, who bitterly resented having to deal with the Royal Navy under the command of Lambert, a mere commodore, after the death earlier of Rear Admiral Charles Austen, the brother of the writer Jane Austen, occupied Proma on 9 October, encountering only slight resistance from the Burmese forces under the command of Lord Dabayan, son of Gen. Mahabandula, who was killed in the First Anglo-Burmese War. Early in December, Lord Dalhousie informed King Pagan that the province of Pegu would henceforth form part of the company dominions. Aftermath. The proclamation of annexation was issued on 20 January 1853, and thus the Second Anglo-Burmese War was brought to an end without any treaty being signed. The war resulted in a revolution in Amarapura, although it was then still called the Court of Ava, with Paganman being overthrown by his half-brother Mindon Min. Mindon immediately sued for peace, but the two Italian priests he sent to negotiate found the British 50 miles farther north at Maiduguri, with a rich belt of the Ningyan teak forests already staked out within their territory and presented as a fait accompli. No treaty was ever signed, although trade resumed between Company Burma and the Kingdom of Ava until fresh hostilities broke out in 1885–86.